Thanks for joining us on Cooking with Gerry. This is going to be a video with multiple segments. I have about this much water and it just started to boil on a low heat. First part of this preparation was last night, where I put some chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans, into this container after I had washed them. I put almost full of water, and then about halfway through the soaking process I changed the water and put fresh water. So the next step is to put these chickpeas into the boiling water, and I'm going to let it come back up to a boil, and then I will lower the heat as much as possible while still maintaining a low to medium boil. And right now there's no wind, so there's no concern about the wind blowing the flame out. So that's going to be about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back. Okay, next step, and to let you know, I let the chickpeas cook for almost half an hour. And it's important to be available, especially at the beginning, because the water can foam and rise up to the top and actually spill over, which has happened to me many times. If that happens, what I do is I turn the heat off and I clean everything and then start over by putting more fresh water, etc. Because if you continue to cook with that foamy water that's boiled over, it'll cook onto your stove, on the saucepan, on the lid, and it'll be much harder to clean afterwards. So if that happens to you, that's my suggestion: to stop, clean, start over. And ideally that won't happen. It didn't happen because I was sitting right there when I saw the foam come up. So I came and I stirred everything around, and with my spatula I was able to clean the sides of the saucepan, and then I took the lid to the sink to clean that as well. So that's almost always going to happen cooking beans. There is a foam of water that happens at the beginning of the boiling process. I think it's impurities or maybe the self-defense chemistry that the plants have that's being removed. After that first 5 minutes, then the foaming is less and it's not so much a concern. So after the half an hour, I turned the heat off, let it cool for about 10 minutes, and then I rinsed and drained everything, and I put more water about to here, and it's just started to boil. So here I have the drained, partially cooked chickpeas that are going back into the saucepan. And now there isn't going to be an issue with the foam because the impurities have been removed. But I am trying something new. Here I have 3 kinds of quinoa: red, white, and black. And I have whole baby lentils that soaked also for the same amount of time, about 12 hours. I drained it and washed it and rinsed it and drained it a couple times with clean water, and now it's also going into the saucepan with the chickpeas. And because this is the first time it's cooking, there might be some foam. I'll be here available watching it just to make sure that doesn't happen. So that's going also into the saucepan. I think the quinoa and the lentils will take about the same amount of time to cook. and also the final cooking process for the chickpeas. That's the idea, and I'll find out if it works. Excuse the clinking of the spoon. I am going to get a little bit more bottled water just to rinse off the quinoa that's stuck on the container, and the spatula will get the final few pieces of quinoa, almost all of them. So now, same process. It's going to return to a boil. I will lower the heat, but still maintain a low to medium boil. And I also want to introduce sprouting. I mentioned it with yesterday's video. I have started some right here. But this was an easy process. When I bought these green peas 2 days ago, they had already started to sprout. I'm assuming that they were in a plastic bag and there was enough humidity and warmth that the peas started to germinate while they were still inside the pod. I think that's the name for it. They were then pulled from the pod and put into a bag that I bought. So this is the first time, but not really. And the instructions that I read yesterday when I checked online: let it soak for 12 to 24 hours in water, remove that water, and then 2 or 3 times a day you want to put fresh water, but then drain it, because you don't want the seed to be sitting in water. You just want to keep it humid. So here is the first attempt: the chickpeas, the lentils, and the 3 colors of quinoa that I'm going to let sit for most of the day soaking in this water. And then I will drain the water, and 2 or 3 times a day for the next 2 or 3 days I'll add fresh water, drain it, and I should have my first sprouts. So I'm excited about that. Sprouted beans have a lot of nutrition, and it's suggested also to keep it refrigerated after it sprouts. I don't have a fridge, so the quantity that I make has to be eaten within probably a day of that final sprouting process. So maybe we can watch that together. Today's day 1, almost day 1. I'll start day 1 when I actually drain the water. And from a few previous videos ago, this is day 4 of making sauerkraut. You can see that the sauerkraut, the cabbage, excuse me, is no longer the bright green, but it's more of a yellow. And this actual jar, I have 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. This one I opened yesterday at day 3 of the fermentation process, and the lid popped, which means there was pressure inside, and it was actually bubbling. I'm not sure if the bubbling was caused by me opening it or if it was bubbling inside. I'm just keeping my eye on the saucepan in case it wants to foam and create that overspill I spoke about. Here I can see this is the unopened jar, and it is airtight. It's got a lot of pressure inside, and I don't see, oh, there's a few bubbles. So the fermentation process is continuing, and I think either today or tomorrow I will try it. It's only been 4 days. Tomorrow will be day 5, but I'm in a tropical environment, hot and humid. So the fermentation process could be quicker, but it has been a bit cooler than normal. So another experiment. The gut really likes fermented food. The bacteria feed on fermented food, and so that's why I am trying sauerkraut. Really easy to make, just 2 ingredients. cabbage and salt. And maybe next time I can find some purple cabbage and I'll make a mixture. So it's almost back to a boil. I don't see any foaming. The overnight soaking also removes a lot of that chemistry that the plant has. So maybe having soaked the lentils for the 12 hours means it's not going to foam up. But anyways, we'll come back in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and do the next step. Alright, final segment for this morning, but stay tuned because there's leftovers and we'll do something different with the leftovers at the next meal. Here in the frying pan I have 1 tablespoon of salted butter. I am going to add about 15 pistachios that I peeled and washed. And here are 3 tiny pieces of cauliflower that I found in the bag. And this is an apple that I washed and cut up into small pieces after removing the core and the stem. And I just want that to heat through. Not really to cook. It will soften a little bit. And then I am going to add about half of the mixture of quinoa, chickpea, and lentils. Still fairly liquidy. It will thicken up over the day. About half of that's going in. And I'll just let those cook together for about a minute while I explain. What I did, I let the chickpea, lentil, quinoa cook for about half an hour. Then I turned the heat off and let it sit for, it's been about 20 minutes now. And the chickpeas passed the squish test. And I thought to show you, if you don't know yet, the squish test. Take a chickpea and with 2 spoons or with your finger, just press it. And if it squishes, then it's been cooked all the way through. Usually, depends, I guess. Every time it's different. And also, to explain a bit more about the sprouted seeds. I'm not an expert, so I don't know exactly, but what I believe happens is the seed has everything already in it. But when you put it in water and you allow the water to change it into a sprout, the water brings life to the seed, and the sprout makes it more available for the body to use compared to when it's an intact seed. So that's the benefit of sprouted seeds, and I'm curious to try them out. And I mean, I don't think I will specifically feel anything, but the sprouted seed really good for the intestinal health. And when your gut health is stronger, your immune system is stronger, because a large percentage of your immune system is located in the intestine. So although I might not feel anything directly, I believe from the science that I know that it will be very beneficial for my overall health. So that's it for breakfast, and for lunch I'm not sure. I am going to go for a walk, see what the village stores have available for vegetables, and see what we can create. Sorry, real quick addition to this morning's meal. I forgot to show you what it looks like. Here's the breakfast combination with the apples and pistachios and a bit of butter, and I'll also add a tiny bit of salt and extra virgin oil. And here is the original just the chickpeas, quinoa, and the lentils. Thickening up a little bit, and I presume it will get thicker as the hours pass between now and lunchtime. Alright, welcome back. It's the next meal, and I am using the leftovers from earlier, and I am adding 3 new food items in the frying pan for about 5 minutes now on a low heat. About 3 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon of virgin olive oil. Same method we've been using many times to cook food. I have 1 plantain, a green plantain. If you're not familiar, here is the other one that I have. Looks exactly like a banana, and the tree looks the same as a banana tree, but it's not as sweet as a banana. During the ripening process, the green plantain turns yellow, and a lot more of the sugar becomes available, and it's a lot sweeter. It's cooked similar to a potato. You can pan fry it, boil it, deep fry it in the oven, and you can mash it, and it takes about the same amount of time. So with this time it's been in there, it's about half cooked, and I am going to add the other ingredients, which is here I have a piece of pumpkin, and I left the pieces fairly big because the pumpkin, being less dense, cooks fairly quickly, and I like my pumpkin not to be so mushy. So that'll cook for a few minutes, and here I have just a little bit of romaine lettuce that I washed, and I am going to cut into smaller pieces. And this really doesn't need to cook. I just want to heat it up and have a warm meal. I'm not sure if you can hear, but it started raining about 5 minutes ago, and the temperature has fallen quite a bit. And I also want to show you, here are the chickpeas and the quinoa and the lentils that I had soaked, and I am going to try and sprout. So here is just a thick paper towel, and I have an elastic here just to hold it down. Useful for airflow, and then tomorrow I will add more water, but then drain it just to keep it moist. And I am not sure if those 3 seeds will germinate at the same time. It's a first time experiment, and I will learn for next time. I also found some white beans that have the brown spot, or maybe it was a black spot, black-eyed peas. So that'll be the next experiment. And also flax seed. I have some. I want to try and sprout flax seed. So I am going to add now the romaine lettuce. I should also mention the plantain. When you peel it and cut it, it releases a really sticky resin, and it's really difficult to get off my hands and the knife. This time I cut the plantain using the bowl because it's much easier to clean the bowl than it is to clean the cutting board. Also because I don't have hot water for cleaning. So that'll be about a minute. Maybe you want to see it. I'll just show you. There it is. Let's see here. Here's the plantain, and it looks very similar, identical, I'd say, to banana. And the leftovers will go in. I just want to heat up the lettuce a little bit. There we go. And now the leftovers from earlier today. And it has thickened a little bit as the ingredients absorbed the liquid. I'm going to put that in, so this will also warm up. And if you've watched recent videos, yesterday the avocado tree that I've been watching, it's just outside here, about 25 meters from my kitchen. It finally dropped 2 of the avocados I had been watching. They are right here. So I'm not sure how long it'll take for them to ripen. This one is from a tree about 25 meters that way, and it may have fallen early. This top part is brown and a bit softer, so tomorrow I might open it up to see if it's ready. Love the avocado. There's also been mangoes dropping. In this village there are hundreds of mango trees, and as I walk I can see, if not hundreds, thousands of mangoes on the ground, and basically just spoiling. So here's my coarse grained pink salt. I'm gonna put 2 pinches. Stir that around. I've made some mango type jam without using sugar, so it's more of like a puree. And I've added pure cocoa. There's a tree just out here, and the fruit is called pomarosa. It's similar in flavor to cotton candy, but it's usually sour. I combined that pomarosa with mango because the mango's sweet, and it was a really nice jam type puree. Let me show you now with these the beans. So there we go, nice, healthy, and it's colorful now too with the pumpkin and the plantain. And I'll turn the heat off in less than a minute. Add one of my extra virgin oils, and this is my meal. I'll let it cool off also for at least 5 minutes. The plantain probably needs a little bit longer for cooking, but I don't need the fire. The heat that's contained in the food will continue to cook the plantain. So thanks for watching all the way to the end. A fairly long video, but good information and hopefully some good ideas, new for you, or maybe not necessarily new, but something for you to try. We'll see you soon.